It's episode 1244, and it's the Relevant Podcast. Still not used to this new theme music. Love it. Here in Orlando, I'm your host, Cameron Strang, and joining me from Loverland, Virginia, it's birthday boy, Jesse Carey.
Right. Hello, hello.
Hey, happy birthday, man.
Thank you. I'm a little late. The folks at my office just a little bit ago brought in about 7 bags filled to the brim with my favorite restaurant, Taco Bell. So,
oh my goodness. From Nashville, it's artist, producer, mogul, Derek Miner.
I'm about to barf.
And just down the street there, our managing editor, downtown, Emily Brown.
Hey, y'all.
So, y'all, you're hearing the show on Friday, April 4th, but we were recording it on Wednesday, April 2nd. April 2nd is the one mistake God has ever made in the history of mankind.
That's a bold thing to say.
Having Jesse Carey be born on April 2nd instead of April 1st.
I know.
But
That close.
happy birthday, Jesse.
Couple hours from destiny, but you know.
So, for those of you that don't know, me and Zane have the exact same birthday, December 16th.
Oh, whoa.
But what a lot of people that know that don't know that Nolan was also supposed to be born on December 16th.
Oh, that would be.
It's a Johnson family tradition, 9 months before December 16th. Goodness.
Yes, Nolan is exactly 1 month early. His birthday is November 16th. And it was, he was a little preemie. But he would, if he was born on his correct date, he'd have been born on December 16th. We'd all been the same.
Jesse, do you share your birthday with any famous people?
You know, I don't think I've looked, to be honest with you.
There's a whole website.
I'm on it.
Yeah.
Celebrity birthdays.
Maybe, Emily, you could let me know who my kindred April 2nd spirits are.
Is there anyone that you would like to have a birthday with?
Sure. Or just maybe I wouldn't.
Let's look now.
I share my birthday with the perfect person for me, and it's Michael Scott, not Steve Carell, but the character Michael Scott's birthday is my birthday. So there you go.
Okay. Well, we got
Zach Bryan. We've got Pedro Pascal. Quavo.
Quavo. Marvin Gaye.
All right. Wow. Okay. You got a busy day.
That's a good
pretty
one.
stacked on April 2nd,
a lot of musicians here, you know.
Wow.
Carlos Miller. I don't know if y'all know him, but super, super funny comedian.
Hans Christian Andersen.
Oh, really?
Dang, Hans Christian Andersen.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Playwrights, actors, musicians, and podcasters.
Jesse, you know what you should do? You should have a birthday party tonight that's like a costume party. Everybody has to come in costume as one of the famous people who has a birthday on April 2nd. Yeah.
Wait a second. This is the best one. I'm sorry. I got it. Christopher Maloney.
Oh, Law and Order. Dun dun.
SVU.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be but I feel like a lot of those would just be people in suits. You know, Hans Christian. Are you?
And then
Hans
one
Christian
random
Andersen,
Quavo.
Malone?
Everybody in suits and then a Quavo.
Well, you got Marvin Gaye.
Yeah.
You got Marvin Gaye.
Yeah.
He was fly.
Yeah.
He was fly.
There you go. All right. Well, because it's Jesse's birthday, we're doing the show differently today. What we're going to do is normally we have a game at the end of the show, but we're not going to do that. We're going to do the game in the next segment because the game is called WWJD. What would Jesse do? And so I'm going to pose scenarios to Derek and Emily. They're going to tell me what they think Jesse would do in this situation. And then, Jesse, you can determine if they were right or wrong and tell us what you would actually do. It's going to be a fun game. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited for this. You know, I think I got to be honest. I don't know that either of you will get any of the scenarios right to penetrate the complexity of my reasoning skills. But I'm interested to see what you come up with.
And I'm nervous to enter the mind of Jesse Carey.
As you should be. It's a terrifying, shocking place.
And at the end of the show, we have Relevant Buzz. And then our guest today, John Mark McMillan. He, old friend, Sloppy Wet Kiss, worship guy.
What?
How he loves big iconic worship song from the 2000s. It was written by John Mark McMillan. It was covered by Crowder and Tomlin and everybody else, and it became a mega song for 10 years. The John Mark original said, "When heaven comes down like a sloppy wet kiss," and Crowder and all the radio people changed it to "When heaven comes down
unforeseen kiss.
like an unforeseen kiss." I'm a sloppy wet guy, not an unforeseen guy. That sounds more creepy. Unforeseen?
Just can we not just isolate sloppy wet kiss? Can we just not? I mean, look, my sons are going to hear this whole episode and say no Diddy.
I'm just saying, I think as creepy as sloppy wet kiss is, an unforeseen kiss is way worse. You don't want to sneak. You don't want somebody sneaking up giving you an unforeseen kiss.
You can't give consent if it's unseen.
That's what I'm saying.
I've always been disturbed by that line.
It's like some stalker coming out and giving you an unwanted kiss. No, thank you.
Hey, look. Yeah.
Anyway, John Mark McMillan, he's got a new album out today.
I was like, I'm not going to touch that one.
20 years after the sloppy wet moment put him on the map. He's got a new album out today. We're excited. He's a friend. He came over after a worship night one night to the house, and we played poker all night, and he was absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible at poker. So I asked Emily to make sure to rub it in that I still remember how bad he was at poker. So anyway,
good.
It's going to be a good show.
So just peek behind the curtain. Sometimes there's chatter before we get to everything, before we turn the mics on and hit the big red button. And I feel like I want to circle back to that because I was a little late finishing off my birthday Taco Bell. And you guys were having really interesting conversations about different, like giving. I'm trying to think of the right word. They're not even like patterns.
Tithing, giving, offering, taking offerings, that kind of thing.
Yeah, like practices. Yeah.
It came up because this morning, again, we're recording this on Wednesday, Relevant posted on IG Reels and on TikTok and stuff. We posted a meme of Marvin Sapp, and it said, "Me, the second I sit down at Texas Roadhouse," and it's him in a booth, and he's going, "Y'all get the baskets, prepare the baskets, be bringing the baskets right now." And it was a clip of him doing that offering thing that went viral last week, but it was him asking for the rolls. You know what I'm saying? So it was hilarious. And so it came on, and I said, "Derek, did you like that? Did you like that meme this morning?" Because I saw that he saw it, and so that's why I got talking about the whole Marvin Sapp thing. So that's how. And
I loved it, by the way, just to let y'all know. It was really funny.
It's like when Derek comments disrespectful, I'm like, did I offend Derek?
I put the smiley face on it too.
You know, it's a funny disrespectful. Yeah.
It's funny, because I kind of jumped into that midstream, and it was a conversation around different offering practices of different churches that may seem like in a vacuum, especially if you see just like a moment on Twitter or X or Instagram or Reel or whatever. It may seem like a little outrageous, but some of these are just kind of traditional ways that churches have done fundraising. And ironically, I'd been listening to an interview earlier this week with Danny McBride, who obviously is sort of the creative writer, star, and filmmaker behind The Righteous Gemstones. And he said something unlocked for him writing that show early on when he said the show only works. It only works if the people in the show are true believers. And their egos might always stand in their way, but they aren't charlatans. They believe in what they're doing. The only thing that is their constant obstacle is their own egos. And he's like, the show would only work if I'm not making fun of faith, I'm not making fun of grifters, but I'm making fun of egos. Yeah. And when you were kind of mentioning that, and I'm not saying this individual pastor is his ego, but the thing that people found funny wasn't his faith, and it wasn't something even personal about him. It is that thing that Danny McBride pointed to, that sometimes when we do something, whether it's driven by kind of ego or just force of will, whether it's fundraising or kind of promotion, that in a vacuum can be funny, even though that probably wasn't the intent. But it's not like he didn't believe what he was saying. Like, he's not a charlatan. He's not someone that is trying to like rip people off. He's a true believer that, he wants to raise money to grow his ministry. And I just thought it was funny. That was kind of Danny McBride's observation. If that's the only way that show would work.
Well, first of all, the Marvin Sapp thing went viral, not because anybody thought it was funny. It was like, this is what's wrong with the church. This is why I left the church. This is disgusting. All that kind of stuff. If you miss the video, it is Marvin Sapp, who's obviously a gospel singer. We highlighted on the show a couple of months ago with his Tiny Desk concert. But like, he's an icon. He speaks as well, and he pastors as well. And there was a clip that went viral from last year. But it came up a couple weeks ago, and it was him asking for an offering. And he was very forceful in his expectations of what would be given. And this clip went viral. And again, it caused a lot of negative conversations. He then, a few days later, went on Ricky Smiley's morning show and had a long conversation about it and gave a lot of context and apologized because he said, I saw it. He said, I saw the clip and I saw what people saw, and I'm sorry for my delivery. He did give this context. The headline was, Pastor locks people in a room until they give $40,000. That was the headline, right? I've been to more ministry conferences than I can count. And the reality is a lot of them don't cover their expenses with ticket sales. And what he said on Ricky Smiley is that's what happened here. He was asked to do an offering, and the offering was for the conference budget. They needed to kind of cover the budget. They were not making ends meet. He was very clear, and he said in the interview, this was not an offering for him. This was not money for him. So he took the offering. I'm assuming there was a number that he was kind of said, like, hey, we're about 40K short. So he's trying to do the math, and he goes, okay, there's 1,000 people in this room. I know you can give $20 each. There's 20K. I know there's 1,000 people on the live stream. You can do $20 each. There's 20K. You other ministers here on the stage with me, you could give $100 each. So that's what the ask was. He was very clear on Ricky Smiley that it was to cover the ministry conference budget, and it was not his conference, and the money was not going to him. So when you're asked to do an offering, you're a hotel ballroom, you're at a conference, it's like, all right, shut the doors. We need to focus. I need your focus. I need your attention. This is a moment we're going to give. We're going to help this ministry. We're going to help this conference. So, all right, y'all, here's what we're going to do. That's kind of what his motive was and what his mindset was.
That's what I was going to say. Growing up, 90s charismatic, I mean, one of my favorite comedians is Kev on Stage, and it's because I feel like we had the same childhood. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like when he talks about his childhood, I feel like we had the exact same childhood. But the crazy part about it is this is not uncommon. And also, me growing up, I was never offended. Like this stuff didn't offend us. Maybe it's just because we were in the culture. But I think this is one of the things that when you point out just like Christian culture, just culture in general, there's just things that are in the church that seem one way and they seem very acceptable while you're there. But when you played back the film, it just, you know what I mean? Like, when you play the film back, you just like, you know what? This in that context might be okay, but this might not just be okay. In general,
I said this before Jesse came on, but like I, when I saw the video and I was going, he said there's like 2,500 people in the room, and he's saying I know 1,000 of you can give $20. I'm going, if this was white prosperity gospel, which I went to Oral Roberts University, so I know what I'm talking about. Jesse Duplantis would not have been asking for $20 from you. It would have been, I know 100 of you can give $1,000, and I know 10 of you can give $10,000, and we're going to shut these doors until that happens. It is not, y'all are off the hook at $20. So like, to me, I was like, everybody's so mad at Marvin Sapp, and I'm going, y'all need to tune in to Paula White's next conference because you're going to be shocked, But
anyway. And it's not just prosperity gospel too. Like I know in the church, like it's certain churches that is just like, they may have, it's just a cultural thing, man. Like raising the offering for the pastor or raising the offering for this building fund situation and all of that, I mean, that's a part of it. But then on the flip side, like I would say this too, and I'm not please, whoever's clipping, if they ever clip this, I'm not justifying this in no shape, form, or fashion. But what I am saying is when you look at certain churches in certain contexts, you look at some of these white churches, man, they have big funds that have very, very generous donors to help take care of that. And a lot of times I feel like in a black church, when you see this happen, it's because a lot of times the pastor's looking up and it's like, man, y'all have the money to do this. We don't have no donors. We're dependent on y'all. And it's almost like a moment of being like, hey, lock in. Like that's what it feels like a lot of times the pastor would be saying is like, hey, shut the doors. Look, y'all, lock in. Hey, if we don't get this money, we going to get kicked out this church. This wasn't that situation, but I'm saying culturally, that's what it would look like in some of these smaller black churches. And that's why this type of style, even when you're somebody as big as Marvin Sapp, you don't really think, man, you know what? I'm Marvin Sapp. I probably shouldn't be locking the doors for $20 for people. You know,
first of all, he didn't lock the doors. Just FYI, he just shut them. But yeah,
I shouldn't be saying that. You know what I mean? Like I shouldn't be saying that because the optics won't look right. But it's something that he culturally probably grew up in that way.
I appreciate, like, growing up in the charismatic church, like, offering was a very big deal. I mean, I've been to a lot of churches, and a lot of smaller Black churches in particular. The tradition is you come up to the altar and you lay your offering. Yeah. So it's almost like shaming that if you didn't go up there, you aren't a giver. I've been to little tiny fundamentalist Baptist churches that posted the non-tithers sheet in the fellowship hall, like in the hallway, where it's like, these are the non-tithers. And it's like, every church tradition says we need to give to support the work of the ministry and the house of the Lord. I've been in services where they took up offering, went back and counted offering. We didn't hit the number we needed. Came and took another offering. So like,
I bet in them.
You're right. Mm-hmm. So it's like, if you have no experience with the church and this side of the church, I get that the Marvin Sapp thing was egregious and whatever. Good for him owning it and apologizing like he did. He apologized not for taking up an offering, but for how he did it. And he understands the perception. And this is a learning moment, hopefully, for him and maybe the church, as well.
That's what you got to respect a man that's willing to say, you know what? I didn't necessarily, this isn't right. It doesn't look right. Yeah. I'm wrong. Yeah. I offended some people. Like, you got to respect the man. But I'm going to keep it real. This is just on the joke side. But when cameras were invented, the Black church has been getting cooked. Like, when you go and see some of the stuff. Like, one of the very first videos I see was this Black dude that was dancing at the offering plate. He did like a backflip. And it's like, ever since that video about 20 years ago, the Black church is like, yearly, we have something like this happen. But cameras are bad for us.
to my point earlier, it's like that's why I found that. And again, this is an endorsement of Righteous Gemstones. Watch at your own risk. I'll say that. Right. But why I thought his observation and why he determined like this show works is because like even the person doing the backflips or Marvin Sapp or whoever. The reason it's funny is because you're not making fun of their faith, because it takes a lot to believe something that much.
It's authentic. Know what I mean?
Yeah, it's authentic. It's the expression of it might come across as misguided. But I thought, like, you know what, that is kind of funny. That like turning the camera on true believers who sometimes they get a little goofy, right, is different than turning it on charlatans who don't believe what they're trying to tell you. And there is something almost like pure about that type of expression, even if it comes across as goofy. It's like, but you know what? They believe it and good for them.
I don't know if I've ever had to do a backflip. So now I have like a new goal in life to muster up enough faith. Go to a Jamaican
church. I'm telling you.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I don't think I have enough faith in my physical body to do a backflip. That might actually be what it is. True. I think internally I'm doing backflips, but I don't know.
David danced before the Lord. There's certain church traditions that dance when they're giving their offering. They're celebrating. They're worshiping.
I'll do a little shimmy or something, but I don't think I'm doing a backflip.
Okay.
I will say that the whole online giving has really alleviated a lot of awkwardness, but created other scenarios too, because if you're signed up for like the monthly gift, like, all right, or the tithe that's just gonna be on sort of a deduction, when it's that time and they do the offering, everyone pulls out their phones. I don't want to be the guy who's just standing there, sitting there looking forward. I'll check my fantasy real quick, or do a couple spins on the Instagram reels and like look around, because it's like, guys, we squared up, we're good. But I'm not going to.
It's auto deducted.
My growing up before online giving, it was about to pass the basket, right? And you kind of looking down the peripheral to see who's putting their hand in, and who's not. And it's like, so I literally would get the offering envelope even if I already gave last week or whatever, and I didn't have. It's like a biweekly paycheck, right? I would put an empty envelope in the basket just so I didn't get the judgment.
I'm so shameless. I passed that basket to the next person so fast.
Here you go.
It's on you. You got
it. It reminds me of one of my favorite Simpsons jokes is they're at church and the offering basket comes by the Simpsons family, and Homer quickly like shuffles in his pocket to see what he has, and it's a couple of like coupons for Krusty Burger or whatever, and he like puts it in there so he can be seen putting it in there, and he hands it to Marge to pass down, and Marge sees him and just gives him like a death stare, and he goes, It's okay. We've been blessed.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Homer.
Well, moving the show along, it is Jesse Carey birthday celebration. So up next, it's WWJD. What would Jesse do? Today's podcast is brought to you in part by Mercy Ships. Globally, 5 billion people lack access to surgical care. In sub-Saharan Africa, there's only one surgeon for every 200,000 people. Mercy Ships provides free, life-transforming surgeries for people who have little to no access to medical care. They help the blind see, straighten twisted limbs, remove deadly tumors, treat cleft conditions, and so much more. With state-of-the-art hospital ships, they provide safe surgery to children and adults living with treatable conditions, and it's completely free of charge. They do all this work with an all-volunteer crew of professionals who donate their time and talents. Surgeons, stewards, nurses, engineers, and more make the world a better place. Your donation today provides free, safe surgeries to people in desperate need of help. All gifts are matched, so please donate today at mercyships.org/relevant. Today's podcast is brought to you in part by Tim Tebow's book, Look Again. Have you ever wondered what would change if you truly believed you were infinitely valuable to God? In his New York Times bestselling book, Look Again, Tim Tebow reveals the powerful truth that when we learn to see the image of God in every person, including those we struggle to love, everything changes. Tebow shares incredible stories from his work with people the world often overlooks, and it will challenge you to stand up to the lies, rediscover the worth that everyone has, and impact the world for good. Find Look Again by Tim Tebow, available now wherever books are sold. Okay, it's time for...
It's WWJD. What would Jesse do?
Okay, like I said, it's WWJD. What would Jesse do? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys scenarios, and Derek and Emily, you're going to come up with like what you think Jesse would do in the scenario. Jesse, you tell us if they're right. Here we go. Jesse walks into the wrong hotel ballroom and accidentally finds himself in the middle of a magician's convention. Someone hands him a deck of cards, tells him he's up next. What does he do? Does he try to perform?
Absolutely. I think he does.
Without a doubt.
I don't know what trick he'll do. No offense, Jesse, I don't think it's going to be the most exciting one of the night, but I think we'll give it a good old college try.
I changed my answer. He doesn't.
I don't think he does if he's not prepared. But Jesse, what's the answer? What would you do in that scenario?
Emily's absolutely correct. I've actually dreamt of this scenario.
I almost said I think this is his dream scenario.
So, you don't have to prepare if you're always prepared, right?
So much so that I just aimlessly wander into hotel ballrooms quite frequently, hoping that a magic show is happening that I'm stumbling into.
Are we keeping score?
No. Okay. Here we go. Next one. Jesse goes to a casual backyard concert. We know he's got the cul-de-sac gatherings, but somebody's going to do a little concert. He's chatting with someone. When the host says, our next performer is Jesse Carey, the crowd cheers. There's no clarification. Does Jesse grab a guitar and fake it?
Again, I'm going to go with yes. I think he would try. Actually, you know what? I don't know this about you, Jesse. If you told me that you actually know a couple like chords on a guitar, I wouldn't be surprised. So I think
he's very good at the guitar. He's very good at it.
Well, then there we have it. He's playing a guitar solo.
Okay, Derek.
I fully agree.
I'm gonna say no, just because y'all said yes.
I think you're both wrong. I think I strum a couple chords, but then take the opportunity to test some new material. And I lay down the guitar and be like, "Hey, just kidding. I'm not here to perform. We got a really good crowd tonight. How does everyone do it?" And then I launch into some material that I've been sitting on.
Oh, like stand-up material. I thought you were talking about magician material. Right, stand-up. Okay.
So then, so who was right? Because
you're both wrong.
We're both wrong.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's great.
So I mean, I will say, I thought he would like welcome the ridiculous music, spotlight. But then at our 10th anniversary show podcast, 2015, the big reveal, the big gag at the end of the show was that we hired a Nickelback cover band, and Jesse was going to be the front man for it, right? So we had a full band, and they come out, and the big climax of the live recording was Jesse performing Nickelback songs. And I've never seen this man more nervous in my life.
I'm not a singer. That's the problem.
Nickelback? Dude. Why are you nervous to sing?
Are we saying Nickelback is great singers? I think you could have done a bad job.
The thing is, I wouldn't even he's more of a vocalist than a singer. And
It's all about performance. That's where I thought you would like lean into it. The ridiculousness.
Yeah, but you still got to belt out. Do you know the problem was I was super hyped for it until rehearsal, and I could hear my voice coming out of the speakers. I'm like, oh boy, this sounds terrible.
That happens. You
know what I mean? You hear it, and you're like, oh boy, I wasn't prepared for that.
Especially if you don't live on a mic, and it's like singing is so cool when you're in the shower, when you're in the car. When you put that microphone and that vocals isolated, you like, whoa, I can't sing at all.
Oh, yeah. And in the shower, I'm winning Grammys. I'm accepting awards left and right. But
it's different when that the amps is in there.
Yeah.
When I rehearsed with that band and I heard my own voice and saw the look on their faces, I was like, okay, this is probably a mistake.
Yes.
He was like,
That's
I mean,
amazing.
literally, like after rehearsal, he was kind of like, can we just nix that? I was like, that's the whole climax of the
whole
show.
point.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, man. He was trying to get out of it. Anyway, all right. Jesse orders takeout. When the driver arrives to deliver it, the driver says, oh, my goodness, I've been listening to your podcast for years. Will you come to my car and help me propose to my girlfriend who's hiding in the trunk?
Done.
What does Jesse do?
Oh, that's hiding in the trunk?
I don't know why the girlfriend's hiding in the trunk, but that's the scenario.
Is this an Eminem song? Like, what is going on right now? I'm kind of confused at this scenario because I know he would. I think he's calling the cops. I think he's calling the police.
I think he's just making an excuse for why he's busy and can't do it right now. But best of luck. That's what I'll say.
Yeah. Jesse?
Derek's actually correct on this one. The hiding in the trunk is a huge red flag, and I'm pretty sure I'm getting murdered in this scenario too. For sure. Right.
He's trying to lure you near his trunk, and then he's like, "Yeah, I got it."
This is about to be a double murder, and I'm absolutely being like, "Yeah, let me just grab my coat," and then I'm calling 911 and saving the day.
Window, and I can't see at all.
Well, now we know the next live show. Derek's doing the climax song at the end.
Good to know.
Emily, you can do the rap verses. He'll do.
Dear Slim.
I love it.
I'll just do the pencil on paper sound.
That's
like
it.
Yeah,
Or
you can be on the triangle or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Jesse goes to an estate sale and finds a trunk labeled "Do Not Open," cursed. The seller says, "I'll give it to you for free if you promise to never look inside." Does Jesse take it?
Yeah. And he's opening it up the second he gets the chance to.
It says it's cursed.
And Jesse loves that. That actually, like, he would pay for that.
Yeah, hey, I thought about it. The black man in me is like, hell no, he ain't finna do that. But then I forgot that
Jesse's
Jesse white. So like he definitely doing it. Jesse don't believe in no superstitious nothing. He about to do it in front of the dude.
Yeah.
Emily is absolutely right. I would, without hesitation, open the box right there in front of everyone at the estate sale.
I already know.
All right. Jesse accidentally joins a live streamed prayer Zoom. Everyone thinks he's the guest speaker, and someone introduces him as Dr. Jesse Carey, expert in biblical numerology. Does he roll with it?
Ooh, part of me wants to say yes. I think he would get really flustered, though, and I think he would end up admitting that they've got the wrong Jesse Carey.
Yeah, I think that he rolls with it and finds a joke to get himself out of being a liar. But he does it because there's two things that's happening here. He doesn't want to lie, but then at the same time, he also doesn't want to embarrass the person that said it. So he's going to find a clever joke somewhere in the intro that gets him
Happy
out
medium.
of it. But he also is an expert in biblical numerology. He just doesn't have the doctorate degree. That's just a random thing he knows.
Jesse.
Derek, you're absolutely correct here. It would be similar to the guitar scenario where I would give a couple biblical numerology facts and be like, listen, I appreciate y'all being here tonight. We got a really good crowd on this Zoom. So, and then I would do the same material, just see how it plays there. So I know how it plays with prayerful biblical scholars as well as backyard concert goers.
Jesse stops at a roadside stand for boiled peanuts, as you know, it's common in the South.
Oh, very common.
The vendor says to him, for $10 more, I'll show you something the government doesn't want you to see. Does Jesse pay?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I think I could see him maybe trying to haggle the price a little bit, but ultimately, yes, he does.
He wants to see the thing. Jesse.
He wants to see the thing.
There is no question. In fact, I'm in that scenario quite regularly, driving through peanut country. I don't know what it is about peanut farmers and roadside peanut vendors, but they are often hiding quite a bit from the government, but are eager to show it to random passersby.
I mean, what is it about people selling beans, magical beans? Yeah, there you go.
It's meth. It's not beans. It's meth.
I've never been in a scenario, and I have actually been in a couple, mostly involving fireworks, when they say, come around back, I want to show you something, that I haven't done it. And it hasn't been awesome every time. Cameron's actually been in one of those situations where...
I bet even if it's not actually awesome, it's still awesome. You know
exactly.
What I mean?
You could see what they were going for. I'll say that.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, the one we're talking about in rural Montana, where we went into what looked like an abandoned fireworks store, like they had to turn on the lights when we went in there. And as we're looking around buying up fireworks, he's like, "Do y'all want to see the illegal stuff?" And we're like, "Yes." And he takes us down to his basement, where like all the stuff that he couldn't put on the main floor, he like lets us buy. So we buy all this illegal stuff, but then he wanted to demonstrate it for us. So he's like 90 years old. He takes us outside and he's lighting off all these like homemade fireworks that he did, and like running, almost dying like several times.
Were they good?
I mean, they were bombs. They were literally just bombs.
It was literally just an explosion. But Cameron, am I misremembering, or I thought I had a video of that guy on my phone, but am I misremembering, or did we end up giving that guy a ride home for some reason?
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought he ended up back in our car with us.
Yes. So after the demonstration and our purchase, No, we gave him a ride to the place.
Man,
remember?
what?
So we went to it and it was closed, and it said there was a gate and it had a number on it.
A Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
No, that's Montana. Don't put that on Texas.
Listen, we called the number on the gate, and the guy answered, and he's like, and we're like, "Hey, we're here. We want to like buy fireworks." And he's like, "Oh, I'm in town. Can you come pick me up?" And we're like, "Where are you?" And he said, "Well, I'm walking down this street. You'll see me." And so we drove in this truck to go pick him up. And then we did the thing. And then we had to take him back home afterwards. We dropped him off. But do you remember Prop was with us? And like on the drive back, like he felt more like he knew us and he was friendly and he was an old guy. He apologized to Prop because his grandfather fought in the Civil War on the wrong side. And so like he wanted to like make atonement to the one black man he's probably ever seen in the last decade. So there you go.
You guys want to hear that's Montana from that? Hold on.
Amazing.
And see, that's why when we go to Montana, I'll just be staying at the crib because I don't want to see the rest of it. Bro.
That's the truth, dude.
Oh God! Somebody lost a finger.
The old man. That was the old man.
He said,
he fell down. He was like running away and he fell. And we were like, we thought he was like blown up.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what I expected to look like.
It was like Forrest Gump or something. Like, where are we right now? It was wild.
Yeah, I'm never leaving that house.
Jesse goes to a work lunch and realizes it's actually at a medieval times. They call for an audience participation and ask for a man of valor to joust. His coworkers looked at Jesse. Does he suit up?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely suiting up.
I don't think so. I think he would prefer to be an observer in this situation.
Emily, I feel like you barely know me.
I know. What are you talking about?
Situation I'm observing.
A man of valor we need a man of valor to joust. Of course, Jesse's going.
I would jog right on down. Yeah.
Honestly, I'm glad that I'm getting these questions wrong. It makes me feel better about myself.
Let's see. We'll do a couple more. Jesse gets offered a free luxury cruise for him and his family on the one condition that he hosts a daily Christian comedy set. He has no material. Does he accept and just wing it?
You already know.
Well, see,
the answer is yes.
Yeah, but also there is a flaw in this because he obviously has material. He always does.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Well, I've actually been in this exact scenario without material and tried to come up with a bit. Let's just say it ended with me writing a letter of apology under penalty of expulsion to the cruise line. And to several elderly churches.
This is true?
This is true.
Wait,
I thought he was BSing.
It's true. What did you say?
In high school, I went to like a Christian school. And the senior trip, they announced that the senior trip was going to be a cruise. And we're like, this is unbelievable. And we get to the cruise. Little did we know it's like a Baptist Christian cruise. And so all the regular things you associate with the cruise are Baptistized. And the only people there are a couple of senior classes from Christian schools, and the rest are elderly people from Baptist churches. And all of the normal cruise entertainment is obviously gone. And they do a talent show night. And my friends dared me to do stand-up comedy at the talent show. And so I'm like, yeah, it'll be great. So I go, and it is old lady duo after old lady duo singing Baptist hymns. That is the only acts at this whole talent show. And I went up there and I started doing crowd work, which people who don't know stand-up is just where you make fun of people, random people in the crowd to try to get people going. I was asked to leave stage. I would actually never forget this. The MC that night, the MC of the evening, was a ventriloquist named Geraldine and Ricky. I don't know what happened to Geraldine and Ricky. I've never Googled them. Now I'm tempted to. Geraldine started heckling me with her puppet, Ricky. And then they demanded that I leave. And I was humiliated.
This is
for
the
a room
greatest
full of
story
elderly
ever.
by Geraldine and Ricky. My school was so mad. They made me write a letter of apology to the cruise line and several churches.
And
that
to
were
the
in
captain,
attendance.
you said, like specifically to the captain of the cruise ship.
This is the greatest story ever. Like,
How long do you think? How long, like minutes wise, were you up there before they kicked you off?
I mean, probably 8. At
Okay.
least.
Which probably in your brain felt like 2 hours. It's like, time stood still.
I immediately realized I'd made a huge mistake.
Exactly.
But it was too late at then. I'm not gonna back down.
All right, 2 last ones. Here we go. Jesse gets a notification that someone has submitted him for Survivor. He's accepted as an alternate, but only has 48 hours to confirm. Does he go?
Yeah, I think so.
What we're discovering is that Jesse is going to pretty much do anything.
Except if he thinks it's lame, like space camp. He doesn't want to do stuff like that. So
He
the
did
question
it anyway.
but
He did it for you.
he did it for me. But this is him. Does he want to go on Survivor?
True. Yeah, anything that has, if it would have said space in any of these, I'd have been like, I ain't doing that.
Yeah, he's not doing that.
I think he's doing this again just for the bit. Like, he's not going to take it seriously. He's not going to try to win.
I think he's doing it to mess with it. Like, he'll be the funny guy who doesn't take it seriously on the show. Yeah. All right, Jesse, what's the answer?
Absolutely. I would totally do it and look to make it as awkward as possible for everyone there for no reason.
Just like Space
except
Camp.
for my own amusement.
You would go on and just actually do your bits during the like little talking head moments.
I would. It would be such an opportunity for me. There's no way I would not doing it.
All right, last one. Jesse opens an old fortune cookie, and the message just says, "Come outside." There's a horse tied up in his yard. No note, no explanation. What does he do?
He gets on that horse.
I don't come outside.
Yeah, come
There's
outside.
a horse tied up in your yard?
Think he goes back inside and calls the cops.
Calls the cops. That's what. Okay, Jesse, what would you do in that scenario?
I assume the horse is hitched to something.
Tied up. Yeah.
Yeah, I unhitch it. Give it a good slap in the hind and go, "Hiya!" and just let him run off and see what happens. I think that's the optimal scenario there. Because that way, if there's like someone who the horse belongs to, they're going to come peeking out of the bushes. Otherwise, you get the entertainment of watching a loose horse run around, see what happens then. That's what we call a win-win.
I'd have never thought of that one, but that's
Yeah.
It sounds just very Jesse Carey.
There you go. Well, there you go. That'll do it for the birthday edition of
It's WWJD. What would Jesse do?
What Would Jesse Do? Stay tuned. Up next, John Mark McMillan joins us.
By the way, I found some pictures of Geraldine and Ricky.
Terrifying, might I say.
Today's podcast is brought to you in part by John Mark Comer's book, Garden City, a book that speaks to the tension we all feel between work, rest, and purpose. The New York Times bestselling author John Mark Comer takes us to the scriptures to identify what it really means to be human and flips the script on the idea that who you are matters, not what you do. He shows that God created us for meaningful work and meaningful rest. Both matter. This book helps you ask and answer the big questions. Does God care where I work? Is there a direction for my life? So you can discern God's heart for your calling, your rhythms, and the way His Spirit wants to shape every part of your life. If you're longing for purpose and a more grounded way to live, check out the new hardcover edition of Garden City wherever books are sold. Well, today's show is brought to you in part by the new book, God, the Science, the Evidence. We talk a lot about faith, but how often do we talk about science in the same breath? You might be surprised to discover just how deeply the two actually agree. For centuries, science has been used to dismiss the idea of God, but today an intellectual revolution is underway. Modern discoveries in physics, cosmology, and biology are consistently revealing the same truth: creation isn't an accident. That profound reversal is what engineers Michel-Yves Bolloré and Olivier Bonassi investigate in their international bestseller, God, the Science, the Evidence. This book is a rigorous, evidence-based critique of materialism, inviting you to explore over a dozen scientific, philosophical, and historical domains. It shows that what was once seemed impossible, that science could point to a creator, is now supported by a vast and convergent body of evidence. With over 400,000 copies sold in Europe, this book is sparking a global debate. It's thoughtful, fascinating, and a powerful reminder that reason itself affirms the existence of God. Learn more and find out where you can purchase your copy today by visiting godthesciencetheevidence.com.
Today's podcast is brought to you in part by Erwin McManus's book, The Barbarian Way. Some books don't just inspire you, they confront you. The Barbarian Way, now celebrating its 20th anniversary, is one of those books. If you felt the pull of God towards something deeper and wilder than the safe, predictable version of faith that we settle for, McManus reminds us that following Jesus was never meant to be tame. It's meant to awaken courage, passion, and purpose God placed inside us. He draws from the wild stories of Abel, Noah, Moses, Rahab, and others to remind us that following God wasn't meant to be tame. Safe faith isn't working. Step into the story God is writing for you. Choose passion, choose boldness, choose the Barbarian Way. Available now wherever books are sold.
Well, today we're joined by John Mark McMillan. He's an amazing worship artist who's dropping his new album, Cosmic Supreme, today. It might surprise some of you to hear, but this is his first worship project he's released in over a decade. He talked to Emily about his decision to step away from worship music for a season while navigating kind of a faith crisis, and his decision to step back into it as he's reconstructing his faith. It's a fascinating and vulnerable conversation. Here is John Mark McMillan.
Well, I'm excited to talk to you today because you've been posting a lot of really interesting things on social media. You've been very candid about your faith and your deconstruction journey as well as your reconstruction journey. And it's really refreshing to see someone post so openly and honestly about what they've been through. What led you to this point in your career and your life?
Yeah, absolutely. I remembered, I reached a point where I was like, you can, I have this thing I want to say. I want to do some content on this at one point. But I feel like fundamentalists are not fundamental enough, and deconstructionists don't deconstruct far enough, right? We all sort of like fundament, if that's a word, to our point of comfort, and we deconstruct to the point of, to our point of comfort, right? We like break down the things. I'm not saying that things don't need to be broken down, because there's a lot of things in this world that probably need to be reimagined, but but you can deconstruct for a long time, and I did, and then I realized like after all my deconstruction, I still have to get up and live in this world, right? Like I still have to live in the world, and like what I think about the world doesn't matter to the universe, right? The universe does not care what I think about it in one sense. Right. I have to live in the world, and I had to ask myself, how do I want to live in the world? And I realized that the two things I want the most out of life are, I really love the fact, and I'm fascinated by the fact that we exist at all. Like it just absolutely blows my mind that we exist and that no one ever thinks about it. It's like so stupid that we're here at all. And people rarely take any time to be like, man, we're just hanging on a speck of dust in the black abyss of outer space. Like we're just like all this stuff is here. And I was like, man, life can be really hard. There's a lot of pain and suffering in the world. I don't want to belittle that or minimize that, but good grief. Like I'm like here, And I'm like really glad that I'm here, you know, like, and I'm really grateful to whatever put me here. Realize that's God, right? I realized like, I really love God. It's really awesome and delightful to love God. I just love loving God. I realized that, right? I also like, I love people. Like, I really love people. I love hanging out with my buddies. I love spending time with my wife and my kids. You know, I get frustrated and grumpy. But like at the end of the day, like those are my two favorite things, like people and God, right? Existence and gratitude, all these words we use, but it's just, you know, and I realized like the deepest place in me, like two things that I think I want the most out of being here are I want to love God and I want to love other people. And I was like, well, that's pretty awesome. That's what I mean about some people don't deconstruct far enough, right? Like I thought about making some content on this if I was ever like brave enough to like play the, you know, you see people have a conversation with themselves. I think it'd be really cool to do this thing like, you know, the show Severance, where like your innie and your outie meet each other for the first time, right? And your innie knows nothing about church or faith. And so your innie is like, man, I just really love being alive and I just really love other people. This is like awesome. What can we do with these other people? And your outie's like, well, you know, there's a lot of people in the world. We can spend some time with some people. And, you know, and your innie would be like, yeah, I think everybody really loves being here. You know, existence is like just wild. I want to do some stuff with some other people. Certainly people have been talking about this for a long time. Like, yeah, there's a lot of books written about it. You know, there's a lot, you know, there's really old books too written about it. And your auntie's like, it'd be really cool if we could go to a place together with like other people who want to explore loving people and loving this thing that like put us here. And your outie's like, yeah, that was called church. And we deconstructed that. We don't do that anymore. Right. You know? And it's like, but I guess it's so interesting that like, I feel like I deconstructed to a point where, you know, when I decided to reimagine my life, it looked like being a Christian and loving God and believing in Jesus and going to church. It's just so funny. Like how, like, when I broke it far enough down, I realized like, those are all the things that I love, you know, and want to do with my life. And I realized that like bad things happen in church. And there's no excuse for that, you know. There's no excuse for leaders who hurt people and abuse people. No excuse at all. But that also happens everywhere. And so if I've got to roll the dice and take a risk about what I'm going to do with my life, like I feel like I'd like to be a person who practices faith and a person who pursues God and a person who tries his best to love Jesus and a person who tries to do this with other people who want to do that, you know. So it's funny. I deconstructed my way back into Christianity, and I kind of love it.
You said you wanted to figure out a way to present your full self to people, not just as a worship leader, but as a whole human. I'm curious, have you talked to other Christian artists about this? Like, is there a conversation happening behind the scenes?
I mean, I probably do this too, but you see, people do have these conversations and they kind of get out on stage and they go back sometimes to talking like they did before, you know, and I'm like, man, it would be more refreshing. I don't know. I guess it's easy to say and hard to do. But it would be refreshing if we could have some of these conversations in public without feeling like we're going to get kicked out of the club. You know, like I like to say sometimes, like people ask, do I believe in God? Am I a believer? Well, first of all, yes, I am. I 100% consider myself a believer. But I like to say sometimes, like, it depends on the day of the week. You know, like it depends on the day of the week what kind of believer I am. right? Because none of us are like, none of us like are immune to like life and to moods and to our experiences, right? You know, but then you kind of got to pretend like you're this one type of person in front of everybody. And I think it would be helpful if people would, you know, I don't know, maybe it wouldn't be helpful, but I feel like it'd be helpful for me. Let me just put it this way. So you do these, there are a lot of these conversations that happen with worship leaders now, for sure. I've had a lot of them, but for a long time, I felt like there was no one I could have these conversations with. And if I'm honest, I feel like early on I had some of these conversations with some friends, and then I feel like maybe they felt like it was kind of dangerous, and I could feel them back away, you know? Like, is John Mark going to make me look like a heretic because he's dabbling? You know, I wouldn't even say I was dabbling. I just wanted my faith to be real. And I feel like if you can't ask the hard questions, then like, what are we even doing? You know, it's like, what are we even doing if we're not allowed to ask the hard questions?
So to me, it seems like you're really advocating for a space for faith and curiosity to flourish, which I appreciate.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to celebrate all of it, right? Because it's all part of the program, right? Absolutely. I love God, and I love loving God, and I celebrate loving God. God is perplexing to me, right? And like, if I was able to have a conversation with him the way I'm having with you, there'd be a few things that'd be like, okay, I love you, but like the Holocaust, come on. Like, you got to help me out, right? Like, and I feel like I'm cringing right now, seeing people probably just heard that and like, I can't believe he said that. But how do you not think those things, right? And so I'm just trying to do a really good job of not knowing everything and still engaging in a joyful, mysterious relationship with the divine.
So is that what your album, Cosmic Supreme, ties together? This balance of genuine faith with real doubt and questions? Or is it just a pure praise and worship album?
It's definitely a worship album. So it's the first time in a long time I said, I'm going to make an album with the intention of it being a worship album. I think when I first started out, my thoughts were like, how do I approach worship music the way I would approach art? Like, revere the music the way I would revere if I was making music for art. And then after a while, it sort of flip-flopped where I was like, well, how do I make art that's like worship, right? But it sort of come back around where I'm like, it'd be really fun to take praise music as a format and like treat it, at least from my perspective. People may not hear it and think it's super weird or crazy, but I feel like I've treated it the way I would treat writing any album, in the sense that like all of the little pieces matter and they're not there simply as a function, right? That's one issue I have with worship music in general. It can become very much a function. And sometimes when something is a function first and art second, it's sort of like kind of takes the wind out of it for me. You know, when something is just like a means to an end rather than an end unto itself, you know? And so it's like, let's do praise music, but let's like do it as an end unto itself, not as a means to an end. Like, it's not a tool. It's not the place that gets us to the other place. This is the place we're going, right? At least that's the idea. People may feel that when they hear it or not, but it was really exciting though. It was really, really exciting to like say, okay, I'm gonna give myself permission to be incredibly uncool as long as it feels genuine to me. There's really the only sort of two rules, or just three rules. It's like, one, I wanted people to want to sing these songs, and like I wanted there to be like at least a chance people might sing them in church. Some of my songs, there's just no chance. I wanted there to be a chance that people might want to sing these songs in church or with their friends. It's not just music to listen to. I guess it's most of it is songs I hope people actually sing. And number two, it had to feel genuine to me, you know. And then the third thing was, I feel like I said it already, I get real scattered sometimes. But yeah, I want it to be worship music I wanted it to be genuine, and I wanted to approach it not as a means to an end, but an end unto itself. I wanted to approach it like art. So those are the three sort of things. But it was a lot of fun. And sometimes I would even say, like, how, not just embrace the uncool, like, how can we make this less cool on purpose? You know, like, how can we make it even less cool, but in a way that's like not a joke, but like almost, it's so uncool it could be a joke, except that it's genuine. So like, we did all these videos in an old church, and I had all the band guys dress up like they were going to chapel in the 90s, you know? And I was like, I want it to feel like there's a hint that it might be a joke, but it's not a joke because we actually love it and we actually believe in it, you know? And so that's the thing. It's like almost this like ironically unironic approach to worship music. I'm like, I get it. Like, I really get that there's a lot of people who've been hurt by church. I get that there's a lot of not great worship music. I get there's a lot of people who have issues with God. I get all that, and I'm not sweeping any of that under the rug, but I'm also saying, but it's still awesome to worship God. Like, it's still so great if you will give yourself permission to do it and set aside some of the baggage, you know, and allow yourself to like embrace all the awkwardness of your, you know, journey in God. Like, there's just something about it. So I'm trying to be really open about all of it and kind of like laugh at myself a little bit and not take myself too seriously, but also be really, really genuine.
That was John Mark McMillan. You can listen to his album, Cosmic Supreme. It is out today. All right, stay tuned. Up next, out of order, it's Relevant Buzz.
I can feel the aching of your heart again.
Well, today's podcast is brought to you in part by the new book, Confessions of a Christian Alcoholic. Author Jonathan Seidel knows firsthand how even believers can get stuck in shame and destructive habits, especially when it comes to one of society's biggest obsessions, alcohol. In Confessions of a Christian Alcoholic, he details his spiral into disordered drinking and shares the 4-step process he eventually used to break free. There's hope for alcoholics who become Christians and for Christians who become alcoholics. Find Confessions of a Christian Alcoholic wherever books are sold. What if you could change a child's life with just $10? Right now, thousands of vulnerable children in East Africa are suffering from jiggers. It's a painful, preventable parasite that burrows into their feet. Soul Hope is the only organization treating it through foot washing, medical care, and durable closed-toed shoes that protect kids long after treatment. $10 may not seem like much in today's world, but when we come together, those small gifts add up to big change. Join the 10 for 10 campaign. $10 protects 10 small toes. Visit soulhope.org/10 to give now. One small gift makes a big difference. Again, that's Soulhope, SOLE, hope.org/TEN. Okay, it's time for
Relevant Buzz.
Tell us what's happening at the intersection of faith and culture this week, Emily.
All right, let's kick things off with some box office news that you might not expect. And that is that Jesus can still pull a pretty big crowd.
Oh.
I am, of course, talking about The Chosen Last Supper Part 1, which dropped in theaters last weekend. And it came in at number 3 at the domestic box office, pulling in $11.5 million.
What's crazy about this is it's not a regular, I mean, it's obviously not a movie. It's the first 2 episodes of season 5.
Yeah.
And it was a Fathom Events thing, you know, one of those like not real.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it still pulled number 3 at the box office.
Yeah, that's crazy.
2 TV episodes came in number 3 at the box office, which is insane.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, I came in right behind A Working Man, which is that new Jason Statham movie, and the second weekend of Snow White. So 2 pretty big movies at it.
And not far behind Snow White. Like it almost beat Snow White, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So
I got to imagine that's the biggest Fathom event ever. right behind, blowing out of the water the previous record holder, which was Irish Dance One Night Only. Like, I feel like that's every
I was so
Fathom
sick
event.
of that joint, boy. I hated that commercial every time we went to go see.
Or like John Williams with the Boston Symphony or something live on September 12th.
Shattered the Irish Dance record. Shattered it.
God,
Actually, it is, they did this last season too. And this does indicate that because they're going to roll out episodes 3 and 4 as well. And like next week.
3, 4, and 5 are part 2 are dropping today in theaters, Friday, April 4th.
There you go. So thank you for that clarification. But it is on pace that combined, it will break the record for this type of an event in the box office. So good for The Chosen. Good for Dallas. Yeah.
Great job, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of Jesus showing up in the theaters, we have another actual update to the sequel of The Passion of the Christ. I know we've talked about this before when there were some rumors or Mel would drop some very interesting ideas in interviews, but officially The Resurrection of the Christ is headed into production later this year. That's according to Variety. It'll start filming this August in Rome at the same studio where the original was shot.
Is Jim Caviezel still starring in it?
He is. Jim Caviezel is back, obviously being digitally de-aged because he is 56, playing a 33-year-old Jesus.
Yes.
So he will.
So they will be. It's the same cast, the same Mary, same like,
Peter. Mel's back directing. He actually co-wrote the script with Braveheart writer Randall Wallace. And as I mentioned, he's dropped some interesting tidbits about this script. He told Joe Rogan earlier this year that, quote, it'll be like an acid trip. And that's because it is not going to be a linear narrative. He's going to explore past, future, and, quote, other realms, which includes a descent into hell and possibly some wild angel battles.
Let me just say this. What could go wrong? Someone taking creative liberty with scripture? I don't see how this could possibly go wrong in any way.
I have learned so much about humanity watching Relevant's Instagram comments, because when we post content, we're posting it for our audience, for our followers, and we assume that we're on the same page about a lot of things, right? But then the algorithm will randomly take something, and that post is 90% non-followers who see it.
Right.
We can't predict it. It's the craziest thing. And so on this one in particular, we posted about the Mel Gibson movie, moving forward, and it has turned into this debate between, it's almost like the KJV NIV debate. People who are only about The Chosen are like, this is sacrilegious. I believe in The Chosen is the only pure Bible movie or whatever. And then the other people are like, that's literary too. They're filling in the gap outside of scripture. What's wrong with Mel, like dabbling in the spiritual realm? Like, what are you talking? Dude, it is the craziest thing looking at like non-relevant follower Christians talking about Christian entertainment.
And the underlying is usually the same. It's like liberal Christian versus conservative Christian almost. Like it's usually the underlying thing is the cultural thing we talked about earlier in the episode. Like there's people that's just like, hey, it's just art. And then there's the people that's like, you ain't going to do that to my Bible.
No, 100%. And then people who are like, hate God are seeing this post. Like they aren't following Relevant at all, don't know that we're Christian at all. And they're like just talking about how this is a mythical fairy living in the sky. And we're just like,
what they call it, your sky daddy.
Yeah.
Like the sky daddy people.
Yeah. It's like it's a wild place in our comments. Not every post, but like stuff like this is very educational. If you
on a side note, real quick on that, I would love to know the secret of the algorithm of those random posts that get picked up, because I'll get them sometimes. There was a video that I got the other day, and it was it was like 4 dudes, and they look like Florida men. Let's just say that. Okay. They were shirtless and they were hanging out in a mangrove, and they appeared to be enjoying some adult beverages and listening to like 90s rock. Okay. And they're just hanging out. And for some reason, this showed up in my reels. Right. I mean, all of them just paint a picture look like they could bet on Tiger King. Okay, that's a type of, but they're just hanging out, and it was just like just innocuous comment, and there were millions of views on this and tens of thousands of comments. Like for some reason, the algorithm, and I went to the guy's profile, and he's just a dude that likes hanging out in the mangroves with his buddies on Friday afternoon. He had like under 100 followers. Okay, and everyone in there is saying just outrageous things in the comments. good for this guy. He's replying to every single one of them. You can tell he does not know why millions of strangers are commenting on his bros hanging out in the
He don't
mangroves.
understand what's happening to him right now, so he's trying his best to respond.
But he's responding to everybody. I appreciated that.
Good
If
for
you're-
him. And this making it probably go even more viral. Because he's
Exactly.
responding and
The
engaging with
engagement.
people.
Yeah, 100%.
And some random guy, the algorithm decided we're going to make him famous. We're going to make
I
him
love
random
it.
mangrove guy.
Good for him.
It makes no sense, Jesse. If you do notice the stuff that gets, and we've seen this with our own posts, so we'll post something that we think, oh, this is bullseye. I mean, this is like a strong post. This is what people want when they follow relevant, that kind of thing. And it'll get, let's say 800 likes or something that first day. Fine, didn't break out, but it is what it is. And then randomly 10 days or 14 days later, I look and it's got 12,000 likes, 70,000 likes, 110,000 likes. And we're just like, what happened? It sat there without any traction for a week and a half. And then if you look in your feed, when you have suggested stuff, if you look at the little post date on the bottom left, a lot of times it's like 2 weeks ago. That was, and it makes
Or
no
like
sense
months
to
ago
me.
sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes more with reels than feed posts. But like the lifespan of a reel is months. And the lifespan of a feed post is, you don't know if it did well or not for at least 3 weeks. It's the strangest thing. But hey, we're jumping in that water. So like, if you aren't following Relevant on IG or the Relevant Podcast account, the new Relevant Podcast account, you should, because we're posting stuff over there. It's a good time.
We're a good follow.
We're a good follow. Yeah.
This is my mangrove, guys. I'm showing it on the screen here.
Oh, that first off, that is Florida. That is Florida.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And this post, this guy, I just looked, he has 1,200 followers, and they're just random family and friends. This has 20,000 shares, thousands of comments, and almost 500,000 views. And it's just him and his dudes hanging in the mangroves. And for some reason, Instagram's like, yep, we're going to show this to millions of people.
It's because it's not AI. It's not a scripted thing. It's just some homies hanging out, and the world is over it. They just like, I just want to see some homies hanging out.
It's true. It's good.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, shifting gears. There's a recent study out of Oxford that is digging into something that I think is really interesting. They're exploring what actually happens in your brain when you pray to God. Is it just an emotional thing, or is there something actually real and measurable going on? And it turns out that neuroscience has some answers to that question. To give a little bit of foundation, a few years ago, researchers conducted a global study.
Real quick, I would have loved if you just ended the slice there. It turns out neuroscience has some very interesting answers. Next up, I don't know if you saw that.
And you nerds can look that up yourself. Yeah.
Right.
She was doing her wait, don't tell me, like Peter Sagal, like, let me give you part of it, pause for reaction, and then continue. We didn't react, so it sounded like she was done.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Well, I was trying to be professional, but I guess I'll stop doing that.
But you're working with us.
Yeah.
So that is
That's on me.
Sorry.
That's on me.
Sorry.
No. To give everyone else then a little bit of foundation, a few years ago, researchers conducted a global study looking at whether humans are even naturally wired to believe in God. And they studied people across multiple continents, cultures, belief systems, and the results were pretty consistent that most people, even ones raised without religion, do tend to believe in some sort of unseen, powerful force. They assume someone out there knows more than they do. And that belief tends to stick throughout their lifetime across religious and secular cultures. So, baseline, yes, we are hardwired to believe in something. From there, researchers now wanted to dig into, where does God show up in the brain? And that's where modern brain imaging comes in. So using fMRI scans, researchers found that faith doesn't live in like a single God spot in the brain. Instead, a whole network of areas light up, including the parts that involve emotion, empathy, memory, and focus. So, for example, people who pray regularly show an increased activity in the prefrontal cortex, which is the area tied to focus and thoughtful decision making, and the anterior cingulate cortex, which is associated with empathy and compassion. I know that.
So by praying more, it strengthens those parts of your brain which develop more empathy and things like that. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Like working out strengthens your muscles. If you pray more, it strengthens those parts of your brain.
Yes, yeah. If you pray more, you'll be kinder, calmer, more emotionally grounded.
I mean, that makes sense, but that's interesting that it's literally wired into our brain to do that.
Yeah.
Huh.
There's a lot of really interesting things in this study. One of the things I found was interesting was that your view of God also impacts what areas of your brain lights up. because researchers found if your view of God is rooted in fear or wrath, like you're kind of always expecting him to punish you, your limbic system gets activated. And that's the brain survival zone, which is where fear and stress live. So over time, you start to become anxious and you kind of treat God like he's a threat. And so you don't want to talk to him anymore. One thing that I'll leave you this kind of on a more positive note, neuroscientists say that the brain starts to rewire when you spend about 30 minutes a day in focused prayer and meditation, at least 4 times a week.
Rewire in what way? Like healing trauma, or just doing that thing of strengthening empathy and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay,
and when you pray and you meditate, if you obviously are focusing on a loving God, not the fearful one, those prayers have been shown to reduce stress, build compassion, and even increase your motivation to act on the things that you're praying for.
So if you're a bad person and you do the discipline of like praying 30 minutes a day, like it'll make you a better person. It'll rewire your brain.
Yeah. Which is cool because, I mean, in a way, faith has always said this, and now science is kind of backing that up.
Huh.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
I guess it makes sense if you're weak and sickly. Mm-hmm. If you exercise 30 minutes a day, it'll strengthen your body and it'll be, that makes sense.
But the thing about how other parts of your brain are strengthened if you're focusing on other stuff too, it stands to reason. Like, for example, if you spend a few hours reading through thousands of comments from those mangrove bros, what's going on up in the old noodle? Okay, what weight room is activated up there?
Okay,
you're gonna have a good time. Is what you
I like the joke you're making, but you're making a really real point that it's almost like what we focus on gets stronger in our brains. Like we're making that muscle stronger. So if you're worrying and focusing on anxiety and negative news and whatever, that's going to strengthen that proclivity in your brain. If you focus on hopeful things, God, faith, joy, it's going to strengthen that side of your brain. If you focus on mangroves, you're going to probably go hang out in the mangroves more. I mean, like, people.
Man,
what you're looking for is what you'll see.
I don't even know what a mangrove is, but I want to go.
It's down in the Everglades and the Keys and stuff. It's this. It's a huge part of the ecosystem on the Florida Keys and the coast. It's like they grow out of the water. They don't need like soil. They grow out of the water. So it becomes a habitat for birds and stuff. But also under the water, there's a lot of like food for the fish and the corals and stuff. They're great. Okay. So mangroves.
Check out the mangroves. Yeah. See what they talking about.
Dude, we'll go down there. You fly down with the boys to Orlando. We'll drive down to the Everglades. It's a whole other world down there.
Are girls allowed in the mangroves?
No.
We gotta go to the woman grove.
Comment. Don't worry, he's checking all.
There's a woman grove,
lady groves,
and that's called the Disney theme parks.
Yeah. No, it's called the outlet malls. You go to the outlet malls. We'll go to mangroves.
Like I said, I got some bros we can hang out with. Trust me, he'll check the comments if I hit him up. He seems to be spending quite a bit of time there. This is newfound thing.
Hey, we should actually do that and see if he'll let us come down there and kick it with him.
All right, I do have one more story before we wrap things up today. You guys heard about those astronauts who were stuck in space for like 9 months, right?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah. Butch.
Yeah. Well, they're finally back on Earth now, and one of them, Butch Wilmore, is opening up about what he did to stay grounded while he was floating in space. And the way he did that,
no pun intended, he tethered himself.
Pun a little bit intended.
That was good writing. I appreciate that, Emily.
He did what they did in Gravity, one of those tether things. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, the way he did this is by zooming into weekly church services from space. We actually have a clip of him talking about this to a reporter.
Attending your church services from space.
Right.
Can you tell me a bit about why that was important for you to do?
Well, goodness, the Word of God can continually infilling me. I need it. My pastors are the finest pastors on or off, in this case, the planet. And to tie in and to worship with my church family was vital. I mean, it's part of what makes me go. And not only that, I also tied into Grace Baptist Church in Mount Juliet, Tennessee. A buddy of mine is an elder there and a pastor there, and I would watch their service as well every single week. And it was invigorating. It was part of what I need as a believer in Jesus Christ to continue that focus. It assists me day in and day out because I need that fellowship, even though it's fellowship from afar, and it's not like being fellowship up close, but still I need it. So yeah, thank you for that.
You know what's funny is I jumped in a Zoom the other day, and it was a Bible study. One of the people attending was an astronaut. I tried some material on them. Not great. Tough crowd.
Yeah, tough crowd. Those astronauts, man. I loved the caption you wrote on social media, Emily, said like, this information, like the astronaut who was stranded in space for 9 months still streamed online church every week without fail. And you said, you have no excuse for not going on Sunday. Like none.
That was my first thought reading the story was like, oh man, if I ever complain about having to like get up and drive.
I'm so busy today.
Yeah, it's like this man is setting up everything from space. Like,
don't let Marvin Sapp get a hold of that, boy.
To be fair, the pastor could be like, where's Butch? I know where he's at. He's not going. He's literally not going anywhere for 9 months.
Yeah.
True, why isn't he here? Where's Butch?
Yeah, that's true. All right. Well, that'll do it for Relevant Buzz. We got a lot of those stories and more at relevantmagazine.com. Check it out every day for the latest. Follow us on all the socials as well. Thanks, Emily. Okay. Well, many thanks to John Mark McMillan for joining us today. His new album, Cosmic Supreme, is out now. Go check it out. It's fantastic. Also, I just said, at Relevant Buzz, like make sure to check out the site every day. We're covering a lot of stuff. We are also pushing that out on all the socials. IG Shorts, TikTok, Instagram for sure, Facebook. A little less on X, definitely on Threads. Just stay, follow us wherever you are. We're there too. Make sure to follow us to stay connected. We're working on a lot of stuff right now. A new site, new app, new podcast, new bunch of things. We have a big year in store. Our 25th anniversary of Relevant is coming up this summer. Our 20th anniversary of this podcast is coming out this fall. A lot of things connected to that. Sign up for our newsletter so you don't miss a thing. You can sign up right there at relevantmagazine.com. You can also check out our new issue 116 with Nate Bargatze is there. It's just go to the site, sign up. We'll stay in touch with you, and you won't miss anything that we're rolling out this year. All right. On that note, we'll wrap it. I'm Cameron Strang.
I'm Jesse Carey.
I'm Derek Miner.
I'm Emily Brown.
Happy birthday, man.
Thank you, guys.
Woo.
Thanks for listening to the Relevant Podcast. Make sure to check out our coverage at the intersection of faith, life, and culture every day at relevantmagazine.com. And while you're there, don't miss our latest digital issue. Issue 116 features Nate Bargatze, Connor Price, and a lot more. And don't forget Relevant Plus. It's the best way to experience our content, including ad-free reading, an ad-free version of this podcast, and more. You can get all the info and sign up at relevantmagazine.com.
Let me just say this. What could go wrong?
Relevant Podcast Network.